Hey guys, and welcome to Armchair Conversations with Rob. I have friends that are into the martial arts and they like to talk about things. And because I'm out here on this YouTube channel and I'm playing with self-development and just basically different aspects of being a better person and developing yourself on a more relaxed level, that they wanted me to talk more about martial arts philosophies because, again, it's a part of what has helped to shape me. So we were talking and discussing about the need for lethal combat skills. And, because those of us that are in the martial arts, we like some of these channels that have been coming out on YouTube, like Funker Tactical, and people that are talking about more serious hand-to-hand combat type of things and unusual type of styles. And my take on it was that that's cool and there's nothing wrong with it. But for the average person, because I'm really like a basically low middle class person, working guy that believes that most of us, if we are halfway decent individuals, and I use the term loosely, uh, will not be in situations where we're going to need to have a cadre of lethal skills under our belt. We may just need some self-defense applications, and we need to be able to have other responses than just the immediately lethal. Because let's face it, guys, if you are in the streets, in situations where you're going to be amongst ruffians or people that are going to be violent on a regular basis, then you may need a different set of skills than the average person who basically, in this day and age, at the time I'm recording this, goes to work, maybe goes to school, goes to the grocery store, shops in the malls, goes to the movies, does basic middle class things, working man things. So you're not going to necessarily put yourself in situations where you're going to need a bevy of lethal responses to aggression. It doesn't mean you will never come up against somebody who is dangerous, but on the whole, statistically, unless you live in a city where crime happens every minute of every day, you're not going to need to learn to kill, you know. But everybody's gotten you sold in this bill of goods where you need to be this big time kung fu killer, to just walk through life, and that's absolute bullshit. You need to be able to take martial arts for the self-development and discipline that it gives you, the focus that it gives you as far as learning to focus your mind. There are a lot of other skills that go with the self-defense aspects of martial arts: coordination, physical fitness, especially if you're into some of the more unusual disciplines. And I say unusual in this day and age because a lot of the martial arts that are more lethal are much more linear than things like kung fu, penchak silat, things of that nature, which they also have their lethal applications. But one of the things that I liked about being a student of kung fu as my beginnings was that it taught me to adapt. It taught me to be comfortable with unusual movements, situations. It helped me to be more natural in my flow and my creativity because I was placed in a lot of situations using and practicing kung fu where you were not in the advantageous position. So you had to figure out a way to make the techniques work or to make a strange angle turn into an advantage rather than a disadvantage. So I'm a big believer in that as far as philosophy. That being said, probably got some video of me doing some goofy stuff on a bag. Um, I also believe in a more relaxed type of practice at times where you try different angles, try strange movements, use creativity, because I believe self-defense should be based on somewhat natural movements. Everybody thinks they're going to respond a certain way after practicing years and years of martial arts, but I have found that as many years as I've practiced, different styles even, there are days when I still jump at a noise or freak out and don't do the kung fu thing. Um, and so you need to be able to be creative enough to learn to make those type of things work for you, because I don't believe you can be in a constant state of readiness. Um, I believe that creativity and being able to innovate on the spot is going to help with your ability to defend yourself in a strange situation if you're not constantly exposed to it. You know, when you're talking about people that are combat oriented, they basically walk around in a state of mental preparedness to respond lethally to a situation. The average person doesn't need to do that. Could you imagine if you're in a lethal state of mind and you happen to get bumped by a granny and you turn around, chop her in the neck, and kill her? You'd be in jail. So ridiculous. So I think that practice is good for learning to use odd situations to your advantage, but I think you also need to not walk around in a constant state of mental preparedness to like take somebody out, because 9 times out of 10 you're not going to need to if you're a regular everyday person. But I do think you need to practice martial arts as a rounded skill, something that's going to bring you more focus, discipline, and make you a little more well-rounded. Um, so some of my friends are much more combat oriented, so we have some interesting discussions about these things. But my basic takeaway with this is that practice can be approached as a playful exercise, and practice can be approached in creativity. And martial arts doesn't always have to be lethal, and the average person is not going to want to be lethal because of the situations that they're placed in. So, in the meantime, just a thought. So, for those of you that might be on the fence about martial arts because you're not sure whether you should learn to practice it because you think you have to be a kung fu killer to practice, I beg to differ. I think it offers a lot of cool opportunities and experiences. And I've met some amazing people from that discipline, and not all of them were lethal. But I met some really lethal cats too, and so there are some lethal things in my repertoire, as well as some things that are just definitely not. And I definitely, if you've known me or met me in my hometown, do not walk around in a lethal state of mind. I'm actually very relaxed, and I think being able to know that I'm capable of defending myself in a general situation, being able to know that I have skills to draw on, gives me a little bit of more confidence. It allows me to relax and actually enjoy my life experience in the world. So it's just something to think about. Um, you've probably been watching me do some goofy practice things. So the takeaway from that is that practice doesn't always have to be this hardcore, go for broke type of thing. Sometimes you need to practice in a comfortable, relaxed way and learn some odd things to use in situations where you may not be able to just totally square off with a person going for broke to break and kill and yada, yada, yada. So, in the meantime, guys, thanks for sharing my armchair. If you like the content, subscribe. If you don't, switch search engines are for. You'll find what you need. And I hope you have a great day whenever and wherever you are. And hopefully you didn't laugh too hard at my very relaxed practice, because, again, it's just something to do.